Blend for about a minute. You want it really creamy. Hi guys, today's recipe features one of my favorite pantry ingredients, olives. These are Kalamata olives, but any olives are great to have on hand in your pantry because they're full of delicious flavor and just a small amount goes a really long way. Great in things that are pretty obvious like tapenade or stirred into sauces at the end. You can replace capers with olives if you don't have them. They always will add a really nice briny and great texture. Today's recipe is a creamy dip and then layered on top chopped tomatoes, cucumbers, chopped olives, and feta cheese. It's really, really quite fun. And I think you're gonna really enjoy it, and it's great for all kinds of celebrations. So start off by making your dip. Well, I mean, you can do it however you want. I like to start my food processor and then drop my garlic clove in. It chops better that way than putting the garlic in and then starting the food processor. You can see that it chopped up pretty well, so now stop it. I don't know if that's technically true. I just tell myself that it's true. This is 2 cans of white beans that have been drained and rinsed. You could also use about 3 cups or so of cooked beans that you've cooked at home. I do cook beans at home sometimes from fresh, not fresh, but from dry. If you do that, you can make like a really big batch of beans and keep it in your freezer. I do that often, but I do have a lot of canned beans. Canned beans is something that I keep on hand all the time for quick and nutritious meals. And they're kind of bland, right? Like beans are a little bit bland, so they take really well to lots of different flavorings. And that's where olives come in here because they're gonna add a really big hit of flavor to this dish. It's a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt, a little bit of lemon juice, about a tablespoon of lemon juice, salt and pepper. And I was sitting here thinking like this should really use some olive oil, but I think that you get plenty of creaminess and perceived richness from the cooked beans, so you don't even need it. Blend for about a minute. I mean process. You want it really creamy. What a relief. So I'm chopping up about a 1/2 cup of olives. These are Kalamata olives, which are a very intense, ultra briny olive. Not for the faint of heart, I guess. If that's not for you, you can choose a more mild olive. We really love Castelvetrano olives in the test kitchen. They're basically the opposite of this. Really mild, nice and meaty, a really, really good choice. Some cucumber. Recipe calls for about a cup. I'm just gonna chop up 3 mini cucumbers. See where that takes me. Make sure you scrub these so they're clean, but you don't have to peel them if you don't want to. I almost never peel these. The skin on these are so thin that you really don't need to. Kirby cucumbers would be really nice here too. And really, honestly, any cucumber. But if you use the bigger cucumbers with thicker skins, you definitely should peel them. You want this chopped up almost like you would for a relish, because everything's gonna get layered. It's like a layered dip, basically. We sort of were imagining like that 7-layer dip when we thought of this, but with a slightly different flavor profile. Sort of like that Greek salad that you get at the diner with like onion. We don't have onion on this, but tomato, onion, cucumber, olives, feta cheese. That's what's going on top of this. So you do want to make sure that your tomatoes and everything are scoopable. And then some herbs. I have dill and parsley here, whatever you like, really. Here's like a confession I have to make. I love dill. I use it all the time. It comes in really, really big bunches. I'll put dill in every salad I make and stir it into all kinds of things at the end. And even still, a week and a half later, I'll look into that crisper drawer and there's some yellow dill in there. I highly advocate using a lot of fresh herbs, especially when you're doing stuff that uses a lot of pantry ingredients, because it really will like brighten up any dish. And use them generously. Don't stop at just 1 tablespoon. Use a 1/2 cup. Put them into salads. So good. You're gonna spread your dip onto a plate so that you can top with the rest of the stuff. You don't have to do it this way. You could serve it in a bowl. You can serve the condiments on the side, but this way you're building it. It's kind of like well, I already said, it's like that 7-layer dip. This dip alone would be really great as a spread on sandwiches too. So if you're making sandwiches at home. I'm gonna do a little drizzle of oil, a tiny sprinkle of seasoning, and then you just layer everything on. I'm gonna start with the cucumbers. I do recommend tasting your dip, making sure that it's nicely seasoned, but also season all of your vegetables, right? You don't want like a nicely seasoned dip and then completely unseasoned vegetables on top, because then it just sort of blands blands down. I don't think that that's actually a term, but it just sort of like sucks the flavor out, right? So give it a light sprinkle at each layer and maybe a little drizzle of oil at each layer too. Then the tomatoes. Tomatoes definitely need salt. Tomatoes are salt loving. More oil. Feta cheese. If you're not a cheese person, you can't eat cheese, you can leave this out. This is pretty flavorful on its own, so if you can't handle cheese, you can just skip it. Olives, the olives. Herbs. The olives don't need to be seasoned. They are well seasoned. Same thing with the feta cheese. Both of those things are super duper highly seasoned. Ta-da, ta-da. Another drizzle. That's it. If you're fancy, you could do sprigs of herbs on top just for, you know, presentation purposes. Bright and fresh and super duper healthy, I have to say. Pretty excited to eat this. It's a creamy, tangy, delicious. It's like salad on dip, which, like, how bad could it be? It's gonna be great. I know it. I'm gonna taste it now. I was right. It's really great, and it's a great way to use some of those fantastic pantry ingredients that you have on hand. Olives and beans, to be honest. It's like pretty pantry heavy. Give this recipe a try. If you want more recipes like this, click like and subscribe.